said I'm going to be showing you how I made this Future and Southside inspired beat. First off, this is the main sample. So what I did basically was I turned scale mode on. Then I started to program this pattern right here. And then what I did was I just simply duplicated it, shifted up an octave, and made and that's how I got that pattern. So basically how I made this loop was, I started off with a sound from Analog Lab, it's called Hold Till Reverse from Vision EXE Vices preset bank. Then I programmed some notes. Basically started off with this pattern here. And what I did was I duplicated it, shifted up an octave. And then it sounded like this before I added halftime. Then I added some halftime. And then what I did was I just resampled the melody I made. I cut off the low end. Then I did some multi-band compression to cut off some, sort of tame some of the frequencies that I didn't like. Then I added a utility plugin, added some stereo width, turned up the volume a little bit, and then cut out some of the mid frequencies. Next, for the intro, what I did was I duplicated the same sample and reversed it. And how I did this was, let me just show you guys, it's really simple. I did this, so I chopped it up into individual pieces. Just delete this because it's the same thing. And then I just hit R on my keyboard to reverse it. And then in this effects chain, I added some reverb. Let me show you how it sounds. This is how it sounds dry without the reverb. And that's how it sounds with the reverb. Add a little bit of texture. Then I added this chorus plugin from Rotaria from the Juno. It's basically the Juno 6 chorus to give it that kind of nice watery feel kind of vibe. So I did that for this. And then I just duplicated it again. And this is how it sounds. And for the hook, it's basically the same thing, but I pitched it up an octave. I could just show you guys how I did it. Basically, I duplicated it, held the shift button, and then basically pitched it up an octave, 12 semitones. And it's how it sounds. Great. And I'm going to play how it sounds with the drums next. Oh, let me just show you how I did the drums. Okay. So basically, I used solo this real quick. So basically, I used Sublab for the 808. I'm using the Mask Off preset. No cap, this is probably one of the best plugins ever for 808s and basses. I do not use any 808 samples anymore. All I use is this program for my bass lines. It's pretty self-explanatory. You go through the bank and find an 808 that you like to use. You know, you tweak it a little bit to your liking, but they sound so crisp. You don't have to do any additional processing except, you know, maybe gain staging and cutting off some of the frequencies. But hands down, this is one of the best 808 plugins ever. So I lay down a basic pattern. And to get that little 808 roll, I just basically set the grid to 1/8 and then turn on triplet grid and then program these notes. And that's basically the same 808 pattern throughout the song. And then I just layer the kicks on top of it. And next is the clap. Pretty standard. Then I added this accent snare. And then for the hi-hats, just a basic pattern with a couple rolls. And of course, for the mix, I gain staged all of the samples I used, just to cut off some of the high, not to cut off the frequencies, but rather to make sure my samples weren't coming in as hot. Then I added a drum bus. Basically, I just dragged and dropped the drum bus plugin, and then I turned the dry wet knob macro down to 50%. Well, took out some of the elements so that you can, you know, create a sort of a dramatic transition. And then for the verse, I reversed it. With this, I reversed the main sample, pitched it down 12. And then for the next part of the verse, I just layered it with the main sample pitched down an octave. And then on the effect chain, I'm using this plugin called Color from Ableton. It's basically, it kind of adds vintage textures to your samples or your melodies or whatever you run through it. Then I cut some of the low end, did a little bit of multi-band, cut some of the high end off to give the artist some space. Then I just mess with the frequencies of the mid a little bit. Then I also did a little bit of more multi-band, and that's pretty much it. And then the drums, this is how it sounds with the drums. And that's pretty much it. As far as the mixing goes, with the samples, you know, pan them to the left, pan them to the right a little bit to give, you know, give the beat some space in the middle for the drums to hit a little bit harder, and of course for the artist as well. And I also added some track delay. Basically, what this does, it kind of delays the timing of your tracks. So I did it for the 808, which was like 9 milliseconds to give the 808 and kick some space so that they're not hitting at the exact same time. And I did that as well for the clap and the hi-hats. It gives the hi-hats a kind of like a bounce in its own kind of lane and own space. Then for the master, I just used the master stereo enhance plugin rack from Ableton. And that's pretty much it. And that's how I made this beat. If you guys have any questions or want to see any more tutorials, please let me know. Thanks for watching.